Love the soft intros. Welcome everybody to the Substack Live. My name is Dean Blundell. Thank you for being here with us. And joining me today is one of my favorite new people, my friend, former Trump associate. Now you can find him at Substack doing some really incredible work, number 2 in world politics. And he is breaking story after story. If it's not, Trump absolutely failing in Iran, to a fatwa being issued against Donald Trump, to Donald Trump, while the big, beautiful bill is currently having a vote-a-ram and everybody's patiently waiting to see if he gets his funded police state, Medicaid tax cuts, et cetera, et cetera. Donald Trump decided to lift some banking sanctions on Russia, and the first guy that had that information joins us. Lev, great to see you, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you, Dean. Love you, brother. How's
I love you
Canada?
too.
It's
Yeah, Canada Day this week, dude. We've got a Canada Day celebration tomorrow. Everything's closed. Yeah, Canada celebrates 158 years. Very young country, beautiful country, standing at the front lines of democracy in North America, which is great. And I did a little Canada Day sale for subscribers on my channel. You can get 50% off your subscription right now for the year, for life. Yeah. For Q&As and things like this that are going to become exclusive anytime soon. But no, I had a great weekend. I was at the beach. I know you were at the beach this weekend. I don't know how you figure a way to get all the shit done, all the intel, all the phone calls, all the publishing, all the videos while you're at the fucking beach, dude.
Oh, it's hilarious. I mean, it should be a reality show. I should have like a camera following me. I got my 3 kids, the little ones, and then I got my wife. She's like, you gotta take the kids to the beach. I'm like, babe, but there's breaking news going crazy. She's like, take your iPad, put some earphones on. We gotta figure out. We gotta take the kids to the beach. You gotta because this whole week we were at home constantly. I was on 24/7.
Mhm.
So we get ready. We go to the beach, and then obviously some news breaks. I don't remember exactly what it was, and so I grabbed my headphones. We're at the beach, and I put them on. So they go out swimming, and I'm sitting there, I'm speaking, and I'm speaking in Russian. But when you got the earphones on, you're speaking loud. I'm loud as it is, but when the earphones, you can't hear. So I see my wife running up to me. She's like, "Shut up!" I'm like, "What are you talking?" She's like, "The whole everybody here, you don't even hear the shit you're saying. Like you just she's like, the whole world doesn't hear. You're gonna have a panic over here." So yeah, it was kind of interesting day at the beach during this whole debacle. But as funny as it is, it's really, really serious and really crazy, and that's why. I'm trying to do it because, it's just even today. I mean, you think about it, you wake up and I'm watching zero, even till now. I mean, zero media coverage that Trump has lifted sanctions on Russia. Zero. I mean, I can't even believe that. Like nobody, I'm waiting to see when they pick up on it. I mean, and zero media coverage on Trump's post yesterday because his truth post was, I mean, I was shocked when I saw that post when I was writing my letter, my Substack letter at the time. And I saw that post. I was like, holy shit. I started making phone calls. I'm like, what is this? Like, what? I couldn't even understand. And, and some, I wrote in my post, which my sources were telling me it had to do with sanctions. And I was worried. I tell you honestly, it's so hilarious. You're trusting your sources also, and I love my sources are pretty good, obviously, because so last night after I wrote the letter and I wrote in my letter that, part of this whole thing looks like it might be sanctions having to do with Russia or something like that. And later on in the evening, all of a sudden I see Lindsey Graham. He comes out on, and he's doing this interview and he's like, yeah, I had golf with Trump this weekend. I mean, we had golf while, talk about the big, beautiful bill. And, I told him about this bill that I want to pass, that I want to, sanction Russia even harder, put these sanctions on Russia and sanction anybody that does business with Russia, 500% sanction, some crazy stuff like that. And he goes, that's Trump's big announcement tomorrow. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, wow, I messed that one up. I was like, oh shit, he's gonna come out.
Oh no, what did I do? I got over my skis.
I'm like, I gotta go write another letter or something. Let's wait to see what happens. And then today in the morning, obviously we woke up and I was right. Lindsey Graham was wrong.
Again. Yeah, Lindsey Graham. Now that changed fast, right? Lindsey Graham comes out because you sort of telegraphed this yesterday, and it was fascinating because when Donald Trump, and we'll get to it, when Donald Trump talks about Russia, he talks about Russia in glowing terms all the time, right? And he never really commits to anything. But you were the very first guy to say, hey, he put out a Truth Social tweet that said, hey, Russians, it's going to be a great time to buy. Big announcement tomorrow. Big announcement. Not only did that not get covered in mainstream media, not only did not one news outlet report that he was cozying up to Russia, that he was promising Russians good things, that he was promising Russia good things. And then this order comes out today. And this order effectively, as you've pointed out, as you broke on your Substack, everybody please go and subscribe to Lev's Substack. He is doing some incredible work. He's on the phone all the time with people who know exactly what's going on. He's been in those rooms. He's leading the resistance, #2 in world politics for a reason, because you keep getting borne out correct. So you deal this yesterday. This tweet comes out from Donald Trump, or Truth Social thing. And then, of course, this drops this morning, where this order comes out, Section 115. I'm yet to even understand the details, but I want to get to it with you and I want to understand Russian banking, and I want to understand what these banks get out of it, and for you to walk through this, because he is lifting key sanctions at the exact wrong time, while the rest of the free world is ratcheting up sanctions, contradicting and really undoing what we've been trying to do for Ukraine to Russia over the past several years. So why don't we get to it? Because I need to know. You've called this final act of a Kremlin written script. You said that in your post yesterday. I need you to break that down for us. Were these Russian banks sanctioned in the first place? Why? And what does it mean that Trump just lifted the sanctions? Help us kind of understand it.
I mean, first of all, these are all Putin's banks. Let's just break down just three of them, just to give you an idea.
Sure, yeah, please.
VTB Bank, right? Okay, it funds Russia's military-industrial complex and all the oligarchy operations. That's Putin's, that is his bank. Okay, then you got Promsvaya's bank. Okay, handles all the arms transactions, mercenary payments, and defense procedures. I mean, then we got Sberbank. It's Russia's largest bank, central to all the oil deals and evading all global financial sanctions. I mean, and then he also, I think one of the crazy ones also, I think did their one of their nuclear banks for their nuclear facilities also, something for the purpose of what was it, which bank by the nuclear facilities, which one was it? Alpha Bank. He also did. I mean, these banks are basically what funds Russia. I mean, you have to understand the situation. Russia right now is in total collapse. Their economy isn't that. I mean, what he did today is basically not only give him a lifeline, he basically just basically restarted the engine, turned on the lights. I mean, full force. How are you doing? You're ready to go. I mean, just think about it. He told the media also wasn't covered. None of this, which we spoke about last week. I've been writing, is that he told Iran that they could sell oil to China.
Yeah.
He told China, go buy the oil. He's telling Russia that, I'm lifting these sanctions. So, I mean, he's just allowing global, and all of this, it's not him doing it, it's Putin doing it. Because the person that's orchestrated, the only person that any of this benefits is Russia. Doesn't benefit the U.S. in any way, sort of form. I mean, we could go over devil's advocate back and forth, but I mean, I'm sorry, that's my dogs in the background.
Don't be sorry, it's cute. I'm a dog guy. It's all good. It's all good. I was just watching Ryan Lizza and Steve Schmidt do their Substack live, and Ryan literally had his dog on his lap, dude. So yeah. Dogs are always in play, pal. Always.
Mine does that all the time, so she might jump in. So okay, great. All right. So anyway, so these banks are the central key to funding his war in Ukraine, funding his terrorist acts all over the world, expanding their military, and I mean, you could go on and on and on. So for him to do it, the question is why. See, first of all, this is why I always say you have to ask the right questions, not what the media is. First of all, they're not reporting about it. That's the first question. Why is the media not reporting that Donald Trump just lifted sanctions a day after the biggest barrage of missiles that Ukraine has seen till date today?
537. Yeah.
Correct. He also has not committed to selling any anti-craft missiles to Ukraine. He's been playing back and forth on that. How come the media is not asking why? How come the media is not asking that you gave Russia the last time we spoke, as you a few weeks ago, Donnie, 2 weeks, gave Russia 2 weeks because he was so upset with the way they bombed one of the bombings towards Ukraine all of a sudden. He came out and said, I'm gonna, looking to sanction Vlad, stop it. As soon as he said that, I said, come out, stop. This is all a game. This is all a joke. This is all, and just you saw it coming towards an end because this was like, it's like when you watch 4th of July, you have that firework displays towards the end, blah 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 blah. Well, what the things that they orchestrated this week was so serious. I mean, so crazy. I mean, it went by, and we're not feeling the effects and not even understanding to what degree of what transpired between, I call it the axis of punity between Trump, Netanyahu, and Putin, with Putin orchestrating it, Netanyahu getting what he wants out of it, and Trump just being a total imbecile in the middle of all of this, being played because all he wants is the attention, thinking he's going to look good. He's going to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Doesn't give a shit what's going to happen a month from now, a year from now, as long as right now he gets that press coverage, and it's like it's like he wants the media to finally turn around and say, everybody to say, great work, Donald, you did it. Like it's like at any cost, and the media is not asking the questions. Nobody's asking the questions. None of
They're
these
not even
pundits.
talking about it. It's not even like a matter of them asking questions, dude. Like you put out that story this morning on the lifting of sanctions on specifically Putin's war banks. Specifically Putin's war banks. Under the auspices, it was for civil nuclear funding and cooperation between. It's the biggest fucking joke. I looked into it. It doesn't exist. These are war banks. They are used to conduct wars in and around the world, and that is exactly what they were there for. So these sanctions, and they were the first banks that the United States and its allies targeted during the Biden administration. To your point, right? So, like, this is a huge fucking story that I haven't seen on MSNBC, CNN, Fox. Haven't seen it on Fox. I haven't seen it on ABC. I haven't seen it on
I
CBS. I
haven't
haven't
even
seen.
seen it. Nobody's even talking about it on Substack. None of these pundits, none of them. That's what I'm saying to you. I'm amazed. I'm amazed. It's nowhere. It's like, no, about everybody's talking. I mean, and granted, yes, the big, beautiful bill, whatever you want to call it, is important. But I mean, how much can you go back and forth that about the same senator saying the same thing back and forth? I mean, it's like this whole weekend. That's like there was so much real news happening behind. I mean, the Ayatollah came out. I mean, Iran did a fatwa on Trump and Netanyahu, basically threatening, saying that the killing the president of the United States. Nobody's talking about that. Like he's still talking about like he wiped out Iran's nuclear weapons. Iran, the independent, what's it called? Administrator, I forgot the IEAE
IEAE, yeah, yeah.
came out and basically said that they could build weapons within months. That they and Iran turned around to Macron to France, said, we're kicking them out. We're not even going
Mm,
to do. We're not even going to allow anybody in here. And nobody's talking about it. And Trump is not talking about it. All Trump is talking about it. Hey, we destroyed them. We hit them good. We destroyed all their weapons. I mean, that's so dangerous because he's giving them a cover. Because basically, if you watched our show with Malcolm a week ago, I
mhm.
mean, Iran right now could be literally developing a little nuclear, and that they could just release at any time to say, put everybody on their knees and say, we got it, boys.
Mhm.
I mean, and he doesn't care that, it could be when he's out of power or he's no longer here
Yeah.
because all he cares about just think about the deals he's doing behind the scenes, and now they're talking about Syria coming into the Abraham Accords and all of that. I mean, these are he's pulling off things behind the scenes that has to do with money and manipulation and power that is it's like I call it a volcano that's going to erupt, and when
Mm.
it erupts is going to splur everywhere, and that's what this is. I mean, the media is not talking. I mean, we could go on and on. Netanyahu gets there's a trial today, Monday. There's supposed to be right now a criminal trial going on Bibi Netanyahu,
Corruption, yeah, yeah, yeah.
corruption, and Donald Trump decided no, that he's my boy. That's not going to happen. So he puts a truth post and says to Israel that I'm not. I'm going to cut off your funding. I'm going to stop. America's your best friend. Do not do this to my guy Netanyahu, and they canceled it today. Then all of a sudden, Putin comes out after bombarding him, comes out and says, Trump is a strong, incredible man. I mean, you can't make this shit up. This is like, the apprentice on steroids. And then Trump comes out. Did you hear what Putin said about me? Huh? Huh? Did you
Mhm.
hear? Did you hear what Putin said about what the fuck? What
I'm
do you mean?
legit now. Yeah, look at
Putin,
me.
like, since when do you need, when does that make anybody validate anything? Putin now is validated. And then all of a sudden, you get the bomb today. He releases all the money to put. So now Iran and Russia, all those sanctions, those oil. I mean, it's just free willy. Go do what you want, and oh, do what you want. Everybody do what you want. Meanwhile, here at home, he's doing whatever he wants. I mean, we still have the military in Los Angeles. I mean, just think about it. We still have people being dragged off the streets, American citizens,
Kidnapped.
rights
Yeah.
thrown out. I mean,
Yep.
we got this big, beautiful bill that, they're trying to just do away with all this Medicare. I mean, just for no reason whatsoever, add all these trillions of dollars of debt to our grandkids, kids that they're gonna have to deal with. I mean, and for what? And just doing it because of power. And the other thing that nobody's talking about, the mastermind behind it all is Stephen Miller and Russell Vogt. I'm telling you, keep those names. You're gonna see a little bit longer coming out. And that's why, it's crazy to see, Dean, and that's why for all the subscribers out there that do subscribe, thank you. Make sure you subscribe to Dean, to myself, to some of the independent journalists out there that really do their work, like the Midas Touch, like my son Aaron Parnas, and others. Olga Lotman, Zev. You got some good people out there that try to keep an eye on what's really happening, and that's what I always say. That's the important part. Don't watch what the media is reporting, especially now, because now they're just trying to chase headlines. They're just trying to somehow go, get some kind of ratings because they're all going out of business. I mean, they're completely done. This is the new journal and this is the new media. It's going to be such platforms like this. Right now, it's the only one we have is Substack, and that's why, thanks to each and every one of you out there that subscribe, they become paid subscribe, that do all of this stuff, we're able to do what we do and get you the news. But it's getting crazier and it's getting scarier. I mean, I speak to a lot of my sources and forget about Trump. I mean, Putin. I mean, because a lot of my sources are international and.
Yeah, and what are they saying? What are they like when you talk to your sources about this license? It's called License 115, which was the lifting of sanctions against specific Putin war chest banks. That happened this morning. Lev Parnas is our guest. Go and get his story about this, detailing this. I've got a story, kind of an explainer that includes Lev's story on my Substack as well, deanblundell.substack.com. Lev Parnas at substack.com. Make sure that you go there and subscribe, because this is one of those stories that I think it's like the Nirvana album. It comes out and nobody pays attention to it until, the fruit of lifting these sanctions really starts to kind of take shape, right? Which is exactly what Putin wants. And when you talk to people back in Russia, you talk to people that are in the know, what are Putin's people, what is the regime in Russia saying about being able to have access to their war chest again?
People are very, very, very distressed because today, what a lot of people don't understand, and this is tremendously huge news. I mean, tremendously huge news. Anybody that's been covering any of the Russia, Ukraine stuff today, and it's so incredible how it went under the radar that literally his post yesterday and the news today is literally not being covered by anybody, and the fallout from this is going to be huge,
Yeah.
because nobody's also talking about that Russia has immense over 50,000 troops right now on the Sunni side of Ukraine. This is all part of a plan to really come in and strike hard. And this is something I've been warning and talking about for a while now, saying that this is part of Putin's plan, and he's using Trump to play right along by confusing, by coming out and, one day being, because think about it. Trump is one day coming out being angry at Russia, threatening Ukraine. Then all of a sudden, the big tell-all, and this is when I said it right away, is when Trump all of a sudden said, "Oh, Zelensky's a good guy. He has some troubles. What's it called? Coming, that I might try to help him out with. Are you kidding me? Like, what are you saying? He has some troubles that you might. I mean, yeah, he's in the middle of a war that needs to be stopped. So they're very concerned. They're very worried because this today basically allows them. Oh, I think Michael's up here. I see it. We
Do you
got
want me to
Michael.
send it to? You want me to invite Michael in? Come on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think they're very, very worried. I'm saying to you, very dangerous what's happening right now.
Yeah, no, it is. It seems to. We're just waiting on Michael Cohen. He's watching right now, and maybe we'll get him in here because at the same time, that the sanctions. Mr. Cohen, nice to see you. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at. Are you still in Paris? You there?
I am not. I am back in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, went for a couple of days. Was involved in a documentary. It's going to be released relatively soon. But I'm always fascinated by the conversation. When Lev starts talking about just how dangerous Russia is to the United States, just how concerned Americans should be over this issue. I will say that I'm not certain that Trump's reaction and what's been going on didn't actually just hurt Putin. And I'm talking about the forcing of the NATO allies to increase from 2% to 5%, all but I think Spain went ahead and they fought it. The reason I say that is if they were spending before, let's just say 100 million, and now they have to spend 500 million for defense. Well, they have already all pledged that they intend to support Ukraine with whatever Ukraine is going to
Yeah, but
need
Michael, there's too much.
in order
There's too
to
much.
fight this war.
First
There's
of
now
all,
going to be more money in NATO to do this.
it would take time. By the time they start putting money in, these are all conversations. The way Europe does things, everything takes time. Second of all, it doesn't mean just because they said they're going to do 5% that they're going to do it, because now somebody's going to have to enforce it and watch them. Third of all, Ukraine doesn't have where to get these weapons because Trump ain't selling it to them. That's the problem. They just got $50 billion from Europe, and they came to Trump, and Trump told them go screw themselves. Didn't sell them any anti-Ukraine or any missiles. He cut off all of that. So that's part of what I write, Michael. And I'm glad you said that, because that's the majority of how people are thinking, because the way the media perceives it. Because people that are not into that, or that Putin's mind, and those people overseas, they think about, just like Lindsey Graham himself came out yesterday saying that he interpreted Trump's tweet as saying, after playing golf with them, that he's going to put sanctions on Russia instead of take sanctions off. Like I was just saying before you came on, I was telling Dean, no, this is not a game that, Michael, that Trump, like Putin, is calling Trump and playing with him. No, the worm in this whole apple is Steve Witkoff. And it's not because he's some big player, or it's the opposite. It's because he is so close. He's built. That's why you don't hear anything from him about this. That's why you don't see him making any statements. That's why you don't see anything happening right now, because he is so close inside of that Putin spider web. They've got him so cocooned in there that whatever he's portraying to Trump is being portrayed in a way that only
Well,
because
what makes you say that about Witkoff being cocooned?
because I
In
could
what way?
because first of all, A, my sources, B, watching them play out everything that's happening, because the way, just like I remember our conversations when we had with Trump coming from Ukraine, the way we would meet and Rudy would go and sit down at the White House, the same way Witkoff is the one having the conversation. It's not
Right.
Rubio, it's not Pete Hegseth, it's not Tulsi Gabbard. None of them are meeting with anybody in Russia. None of them are speaking
Because,
to.
because Steve Witkoff is not somebody who has had um, any sort of real relationship with Russia over the years. I know Steve for over 2 decades. I mean, I know Steve Witkoff longer than I know Trump, just to give you an idea. My kids are friends with his kids. In fact, his son worked for me at the Trump org one summer as a temp. as a for a summer, as a summer intern. Let me say that he's not, the uh, former Russian
No,
compromat or anything like
no,
that.
no,
I
no,
guess
no.
it's simply because he wants to do the job. He wants to sort of
He's
impress
overwhelmed.
Trump and the country
He's
that
overwhelmed.
overwhelmed.
And also you gotta understand. See the way Putin plays it, the way he's a mastermind. Because I've been around them well enough. Is he makes Witkoff believe? I guarantee you, Witkoff is not coming to Trump with the perception that he's hurting America or that he's doing something bad. No, no, no. They don't. The way they do it is they make it perceive that the way he's laying it out to Trump, that Trump is going to get the win, that this is good. This is all part of the win, and it's all being laid out where Trump's going to get the Nobel Peace. Trump's going to get the recognition of stopping the war in Ukraine. Trump's going to get the mineral rights that he's going to be able to bring it all over there. Trump's going to get all of this. So sometimes, it's like that's why even you see the way the conversations where it's all being played out and like where one day Putin comes out, says something bad, Trump comes out all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to sanction them, Vlad, stop this, and then all of a sudden yesterday he saw Putin come out praising him like I've never seen Putin praise anybody like that, and then Trump sitting there, you see that? Because Witkoff told him that's gonna. I mean, it was all like it was all played out. That's why you don't hear Witkoff talking right now, not to make a mistake and let something out or what's it called. That's why he's not giving it. Not because he's a bad guy. And that's why I say to you, Michael, I always say Steve Witkoff reminds me of myself in that position right now. It's because I also believed I was doing the right thing. I believed I was saving our country. I believed putting pressure on Zelensky and doing those things was to save us against the deep state. So it's not that Steve Witkoff is thinking or trying. He believes that he's doing it, but he's being used, and he's in a knowing Steve Witkoff for 20 years. Imagine him being now in front of Vladimir Putin and all these KGB
Well,
and all.
let me be clear. Knowing Steve as I know him, he is truly enjoying being front and center. Steve Witkoff, as Trump used to say about Steve and so many other of these billionaires that were around him. These are some of the richest people in America who nobody knows, right? Unless you bought, as I have in the past, an apartment from Steve Witkoff, you wouldn't know him if you ran him over with your car, right? He's not a bad guy. He is a real estate developer who, by the way, used to work for Trump many years ago as the lawyer in the company who then went out on his own. He went out on his own and he, builds buildings. He's got, a handful around New York City. He's got some in Vegas. He's a real player. But as Trump likes to make fun of them, that if Steve was sitting in a restaurant, nobody would know who the fuck he is, right? And he gives them that shtick, because Trump could go anywhere. And the second he walks into a crowd, literally he gets swarmed like a rock star, right? And so he would say that about him. There was another guy named Stanley Shearer, who's a mega billionaire, unfortunately recently passed away, but a mega billionaire, and gave Trump so much money. Every time Trump asked, they were just laying out millions. Part of that Syrian community, just laying out the millions. And Trump would turn around and point out, there's my friend. You see that guy right there? That's my buddy Stan. Stan's the richest guy nobody's ever heard of. Nobody would know who the fuck he is if they ran him over with the car. And so on. And the place would laugh their asses off because it's true. It's true. They are so under the radar. So Steve is truly enjoying, being front and center. And I'm with you.
Oh,
I think he actually wants to do
yeah.
not just a good job for the country, but more importantly, he wants to do a great job for Trump. He wants the accolade. He wants the little slap in the ass and say, Steve, it's a good job. Good job. That's all you need. Shine the light on him for one split second. That's all you need.
But also keep in mind, Steve, you probably, I don't know when was the last time you were around him and how long, but Steve, since 2017, got very closer into that world because him and Jared, and that's what were very close, and that's when he met first. What's his name? Kirill Dmitriev, through the sovereign wealth fund that ran the sovereign wealth fund for Russia while they were in Saudi Arabia. So that relationship that's been built, been
Well,
built
you are
over
aware,
years.
by the way, that Eric Trump and Zach Witkoff are
Correct.
partners now.
Yes.
Obviously, Eric, a larger percentage owner,
World
right?
Liberty. Yeah.
In
Well,
Liberty, in Liberty crypto.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying to you, Woodcock right now is in a different position because and that's why I say he's the important person that I always say because nobody asks him. Like he's the guy speaking with Putin, meeting with the Iran, meeting with the Middle East. Meeting he's if you really take a look for a second, and if you say like who's the most important guy in this whole figure. If you took away, his background and say, okay, because we try to say because he's a real estate guy and because he doesn't have, so we should not look at. But if you really take a look, he's the only guy in the middle of all of this. He's the guy that met Putin 4 times. He's the guy that is the official Middle East envoy and has deals with Iran. He's the guy that deals with Bibi and Hamas. He's the guy
Yeah,
that
everything goes through Witkoff.
everything
Everything.
goes through Witkoff.
Well,
But
let's remember, there's always been a Michael Cohen in Donald Trump's life. Pre-Michael Cohen, it was Roy Cohn. Okay,
he likes the Cohens. I think it's
well,
the Cohen thing.
it's spelled different, by the way. Anyway, so you had Roy Cohn, then you had me. After me, you had Jared Kushner, who was the secretary of everything. You needed anything during that administration. The only person, and Ivanka set that up, by the way. Ivanka totally set it up for Jared. Daddy, Jared's the right guy. Jared's the right guy. How many times Trump, you know this, Lev, how many times do you think during the course of those 4 years was Trump literally ready to throw Jared, not just off the property, but off the roof?
Instead of the ketchup against the wall.
Sure. And it's why you don't really see him now. What Jared's done is he set himself up very, very well with the Saudis and the Emiratis and the Qataris, because of still the relationship through Ivanka. But he's not the player. But now Steve Witkoff has become that go-to person. And that's what Trump always needs. He needs somebody. Unfortunately, take a look what happened. Things didn't end well, in all fairness, with Roy Cohn. My story, everybody pretty much knows. It didn't end well, believe it or not, with Jared. If it did, you wouldn't be seeing Witkoff there. You'd see Jared back in the picture again. All of a sudden, it's like, no, we're going to take a step away. You don't take a step away from Donald Trump. Let me be clear about that. It's like Hollywood. You never leave Hollywood. Hollywood leaves you. And Trump left Jared. And the only reason he's allowing him to keep fucking around with the Saudis and, holding on to their $2+ billion in his hedge fund is because he doesn't want to hurt his daughter and his grandkids. And it doesn't matter to him. Why? Because he's now involved the Saudis and the Emiratis and the Qataris and so many others with his crypto, with the boys, with Eric, with Don, with Barron, right? They've been doing so many other things that Jared's not involved with. But now Steve Witkoff is that guy. And you know what? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. Look,
Yeah.
Rudy Giuliani actually played that similar role as well.
It's what it really feels like. What you're laying out here for us, Mr. Cohen and Mr. Parnas, is that every time Donald Trump has a guy, you being front and center as that crystal clear example, that guy suffers humiliating defeat in being the front person for all of Donald Trump's wins. Like it's amazing to me because I did watch The Apprentice. Not sure if you've watched it, but he does this to everybody. And Steve Witkoff is going to meet the exact same end that everybody else
is.
is.
Me if I watch
Yeah.
The Apprentice?
Yeah.
I was the co-president of Trump Productions. So I didn't just watch it. I sat in the booth for
Oh
it.
no, I meant the show with the movie that just came out.
I went to the premiere. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that was
with Trump, it's it's a no-win situation because if you do something good, he gets the credit. If
yeah.
something bad happens, you're the fall guy. So that's why being in that position, like that Michael or that Rudy or that now Steve is in, and all of that, it's like he has a no-win position because yes, if there's something great that happens, a peace deal or something that Trump could use, Woodcock is not going to get the credit for it. He'll maybe get one liner like in a press release somewhere, or Trump will say hi, congratulate him for job well done. But Trump's going to run with it like that's his deal.
But that's always the point.
Correct.
It's always about the boss. In all
Correct.
fairness,
That's
whether
it.
it's the mob boss, right, or
Correct.
whether it's from the president, or whether it's the president of the company. The boss takes all the credit, and somebody else always takes the loss. So you're right, Lev. It's a lose-lose situation for everybody other than the guy at the top. And you know that going into it.
Let me ask you guys a couple questions. Michael Cohen, Lev Parnas, go and subscribe to the.
Before you do that, let me just say that Lev also brought up a point. It's the only reason I really wanted to come in, not to take over the.
What about me, dude? You didn't want to come and see me
I
again?
find Lev's conversation to be really super interesting and something that is not talked about nearly enough. But Lev's not wrong when he said that this Substack platform, Lev and I with Malcolm Nance on Thursdays have our own show. I have one coming up at 4 with Jim Acosta. I do Tuesday with Don Lemon. I have the Wednesdays with Joe Walsh. This Substack is a very important platform because if you have the stomach, I hate to say it, I have to watch it because I need to write my Substacks as I do every single morning, or the lives like when I share with Lev or even you, Dean. I have to be well versed, so I read every newspaper every morning. I watch the news when I'm not on television or on platform with Substack or wherever, my YouTube channel. It's extremely important. But what I know Lev was talking about that he finds infuriating, and I do as well, is there's so much, I don't want to call it bullshit, that gets spewed, even here on Substack, by individuals who are making assertions that they should not be making because they have no requisite knowledge to do so. They were not like Lev in the room. They didn't sit across shoulder to shoulder or directly next to Trump for a decade and a half to understand. So when they make statements, all they're doing is they're parroting information that they'll get from Lev and I. Will just, I don't know, we'll decide that we're both fucking bored. So we'll jump on. He'll call me. I'll call him. I'll say, "What are you doing?" He'll say, "I don't know. I'm just sitting here drinking my iced coffee." Right? And I'll say to him, "Let's do a Substack." Okay. Let's talk about this marathon, this marathon build, the Zoomerama that they call it. Well, we'll end up doing that, and then what others will do is they'll copy comments that we'll make to try to take it as their own. But the part that truly irritates me, and I don't know how it happens, but some of these folks will have 3, 4, 500,000 people, subscribers to their platform. And I'm saying, how could they have so many people when you have others who actually have the information firsthand? And then when you watch them on their platform, because I'll always jump on to see, they'll have like 500, 600 people, 400 people, on there with us. We're at 1,600 people right now. All right, 1,600. So to those of you, please do me a favor that are with us right now, keep smashing the heart. I was told by people, I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm going to go with it. Smash the heart, because I understand that it helps to push the algorithm. But more importantly is that square with the up arrow. That's how you share this specific episode. You share this Dean Blundell show with Lev and myself. You go ahead and you share that with friends and family. In fact, we should have 100,000 people on with us right now. One of the things that I wrote in my Substack today is really all about people like Senator Tillis, who made an announcement that he's not going to seek re-election. Now, some people are saying, that's very regal of him. And I say bullshit. All right. I say it's cowardice. All of a sudden, you're worried about a fucking primary. You're worried because you stood up to Trump that now you're going to get primaried by MAGA. So you cut tail and run. One thing that Lev will tell you, I will tell you, is two people that serve time in federal correctional institutions. You know what a person is made of when they're able to withstand these sort of pressures, to rise up and to hold themselves with their head high and so on. So what if Tom Tillis loses in the primary? So what? So now you turn around and after all this, because you're going to get primaried, you cut bait and you run? This is the time that we need people to stand up. This is the time we need people's voices to be angry and to say, this isn't acceptable. This is not acceptable. This is the time that you're supposed to be angry and you're supposed to mobilize and you're supposed to make sure that your voices get heard. And where did they get heard? In the midterm elections. But, oh, no, you got this guy's bailing out simply because the pressure is going to get too much. Oh, my God, MAGA or Trump or Truth Social, they're going to primary him. They're going to say bad things about him. They're going to bring up a bunch of dirt. Big shit. Do your job, man. Do your job. And your job isn't supposed to be, when things are easy. The substance of a man's heart is determined when things are tough, not when they're easy.
Michael Cohen, well said. You're talking about a profile in courage. What you're talking about is doing the right thing at the right time and going to places where people can share these stories, and those stories are not being readily shared. I mean, we were talking about this License 115, the lifting of sanctions, how nobody is talking about it today. People are afraid to talk about it. People are afraid to go back against the wheel. People are afraid to speak up against Donald Trump. People are deathly afraid, and it starts with the media. ABC settling that, what was it, $15-20 million lawsuit for something
$15 million and $1 million in legal fees.
They did nothing fucking wrong, but they just handed over $16 million to Donald Trump because it just wasn't worth the fight. Now, that's what makes what you just said so incredible to me is you've got guys like Lev who's done time. You've got guys like you who have done time, who are constantly under threat, trying to fill those gaps on places like Substack to be able to tell people real stories because you are in those rooms. You do have those conversations. And seeing people repeat that without giving you guys credit, it drives me absolutely fucking crazy. I've seen it. I've seen screen grabs of the stuff that you guys have done attributed to other people. But those are just aspects of social media and how it works. What you're drilling down on, which is so fucking important, and coming from mainstream media as I have over the past, it is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to have worked in mainstream media. I am embarrassed watching America capitulate. I am embarrassed watching different media companies that traditionally have told stories and, save Axios, leave them out of it. There are a few that do, but they're just parroting the real life stories that you guys bring to the table, right? And they're not even doing that anymore because they're literally that afraid. And I got to ask both of you guys, are neither of you afraid of the outcome? Or neither of you guys afraid of any retribution? Been there, done that? Like, because the stuff that you guys, even just this fucking podcast, we got like 1.6 thousand people watching this thing, getting information, which is really one of the things that I love about these chats, saying this is so deep. I did not know that. I had no idea that Witkoff was attached to this. I had no idea that that person worked for that person. But you guys have been in those rooms. Does it make you angrier when you see the lack of coverage, or have you just kind of written mainstream media off and just accepted that, hey, we all got funneled to Substack, we might as well just go for broke and see what we can do?
Lev?
Well, I'll tell you this much. I mean, I wrote off mainstream media because they're scared of Trump. Plus, they're being manipulated through because they're all owned by corporations that are being targeted by Trump. What I'm pissed off at more is a lot of the pundits or a lot of the media personalities that left mainstream media that have come onto these platforms and now are basically doing the same thing they did on the media, regurgitating what the media is regurgitating. If you go on Substack during the day, which I do all day long just to watch, and I jump into these conversation, is the same thing as putting CNN on. It's like right now, if you watch CNN, they're talking about the big, beautiful bill and back and forth about this debate. If you go on any of the Substack, they're talking about big, beautiful bill. Like, nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about what's really happening during this whole week about what that Iran has opened up a fatwa on Trump, that we're getting concrete evidence now that their uranium has not disappeared. We're talking about
Sanctions? Yeah.
sanctions. We're talking about Bibi Netanyahu that was supposed to have a kid. Again, this is not about should he, shouldn't he, but the fact that Trump is doing this in plain view, and the media is not even covering it, and none of the pundits are covering it. Nobody's talking about it. That is why we're living in the world that we live in. That is why Trump won. That is why, because they somehow, the right or the mega, whoever you want to call it, is controlling the message. And that's why me, Michael, you, Zev, all of us are constantly talking about the same thing: is we need to unite the message. Right now, we should all be. If you right now, Michael, myself, you, we should be all over the Substack should be full of different interviews all day long talking about this, about the sanctions. People should be going on right now discussing it. We should, and not regurgitating the same stuff that's happening on CNN or MSNBC. But instead, and that's, we're hearing the same thing. So that's where the push is. And again, I'm not blaming anybody because, some people are just set in their old ways or whatever the situation is. But this is not about, we're not talking about business. We're not talking about, a way of life. We're talking about saving our democracy here. What we're trying to build is a movement. What we're trying to do is the resistance. What we're trying to put together is actually a source of information that comes out to be able to deal. So if we have a chance, because I say it all the time, we need to deal with it now. We don't need to wait till the midterms because you already got two guys. Just think about it, two guys that are in the mega world that are leaving. You got Tillerson that said he's not going to, let's see how he plays along for the next year and a half until the midterms come along while he's still in office and still voting. And you also got Don Bacon that also said he's retiring because of threats to his family. So that's two already. You need another three. And you're able to now join Congress and start doing things now.
So, the crazy thing, one of the things that Lev and I have talked about on our Thursday show, how about, and it's something I write about often, an undertone in my Substack post. How about the members of Congress do their fucking job?
Mm.
All right. How about if they do their job on both sides of the aisle? So Republicans now, and this is, of course, is the danger when you have a Republican president with a Republican Senate and a Republican House. This is the danger, especially when they're more concerned about stroking the backside of the supreme leader and not worrying more about the country than they are about their career. And so I say, this is a perfect time for Democrats to walk in to somebody like Tom Tillis. It's a perfect time for them to go to somebody like Don Bacon or go to the moderate Republicans and say, there is a home here with us. You see, you only need one vote in the House to turn things backwards. One. You only need 3 or 4 in the Senate to turn things around. But not one of them is willing to do that. You need to, if you're willing to step away, you're not going to run, make a fucking difference. All right? Protect the country, not your career. Don't worry about it. How many times have we now seen where a Democrat will turn around and say, I've had enough. I'm going either independent or I'm going Republican. We've seen that. But what ends up happening, nobody does it. They're worried more. Oh my God, my family's in jeopardy. Fuck you. So is mine. All right. And all I did is answer the subpoena. I didn't want to testify. Let me be blunt about that one. I didn't want to testify. I was subpoenaed. I had to. So don't tell me as a member of Congress, fucking coward. Oh my God, my family's in jeopardy. Yeah? Well, you asked for the job. You got the job. You voted for guys like Pete Hegseth, all right, in order to become secretary for the DOD. You voted for people like Tulsi Gabbard. Well, you know what? Tough shit. Now it's time for you to suck it up.
Mhm.
Plain and
Mm.
simple. And that's why I'm saying we're now to 1,800. Thank you to everybody. I'm going to end up leaving the two of you to close out your show, Dean. But please make sure if you're a subscriber to mine, please make sure that you subscribe to Dean's and to Lev's. Vice versa, if you are a subscriber to Dean's and to Lev's, please subscribe to mine as well. All of our Substacks, our posts are fantastic. They're very insightful. They're thought-provoking. All right. And I hate to say it, somewhat dystopian. So, and if you can, as Lev said, support independent journalists like Lev Dean, myself, or anybody else who you happen to like. But this is the place that you want to come to for real information. No more of this, oh, I'm afraid that I'm going to get sued or that the administration is going to pull our license, our FCC license or something like that. Enough of that. All right. This is where you need to come to in order to get not just what's happening that you could turn on the television, but the backstory and where it's going to end. So with that, Lev, I will, of course, speak to you later as I do all the time. Dean, thanks
See you,
for
brother.
bringing me up.
Anytime.
All of those that are with us, 4 o'clock, I'm going to be on with 4:40 to be exact with Acosta. Anyway, I thank you all, and I will, Dean, see you, and Lev, see you soon.
See you, buddy. Take care.
Take care,
Michael
brother.
Cohen, ladies and gentlemen, 4 o'clock with Jim Acosta. Make sure you go and subscribe and watch that. Lev, listen, this has just, as always, been unbelievably insightful. And I'd be remiss, though, at the end of this to ask you, we just started talking about that culture of fear when it comes to media, that culture of fear. And no one's been more targeted by the Trump regime than you, guys like Michael Cohen, et cetera, et cetera. In that word courage, and I agree with Michael, these are senators that are bagging out and Congress people bagging out of, doing their civic duty and not running for reelection after supporting Donald Trump because they're afraid. They don't live through the fear and the action that you've received over the past, several years. They haven't been to prison. What do you say to media outlets, politicians, whether they be Republican or Democrat, who cite fear of Donald Trump at this moment in time, who cite fear as a reason to not do anything, as a reason to not be proactive, as a reason to not stand up for democracy and the people of America? Congress has fucking peered over the past little while. And a lot of that is this air of fear, but no one can speak to, that fear better than someone like you. What do you say to institutions, politicians, policymakers, lawmakers, judges, people who are so afraid of this gentleman, so afraid of the Trump regime that they seem to be paralyzed into allowing your country to devolve into a fascist authoritarian state?
In Brooklyn, we had a saying, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Same thing here. You're taking this position, you're taking this job to be able to be a representative for your constituents.
Mhm.
But this is where I'm going to say it's a little bit different. I understand fear, and I understand not everybody. You're not supposed to be, by being a congressman or a senator, be scared for your life or for your family. But then don't put yourself in that position. Don't go vote for this tyrant and putting people like Kash Patel, like, Tulsi Gabbard, like Pete. You go out there and you vote and you put these people in for us now to deal with. And now you're scared for yourself and your family and you're going to run. That's cowardice.
Mhm.
That's wrong. If you were there and you're fearful because you did the right thing, because you voted against Trump and you're saying, you know what, because of that, that's different. I respect that. Listen, everybody has to do their thing for their own family. And the first thing is safety. We all have kids and everything. So safety comes first because we are living in a crazy time, not just to be scared to get, arrested or reprimanded by the government, but you also have crazy mega running around. You got, J6ers that are pardoned. You got Proud Boys,
Militia, yeah.
militia. You got all these people there that, feel emboldened because Trump is in office and feel that they could get away with doing things that they will get released.
Yeah.
See, that's the other crazy thing that we don't even talk about a lot is these people out there right now, you have people going out there doing criminal activities on behalf of, Trump.
State-sponsored violent crimes. Yeah.
Correct. By going out there and, kidnapping people off the street because they think they're an immigrant and bringing them to an ICE facility and not worried about repercussion because, if it was a wrong guy or a citizen, I'm not going to, Donald Trump will let me go. Ron DeSantis is running around here in Florida building alligator Alcatraz right now. You can't make this shit up. It's really, really, scary and crazy. And that's why I think the most important thing, and I know we got to go and I'll leave us off on this note. It's very important that the whole key to a free society, it all starts with our First Amendment. And that's free speech, information, to be able to get the truth. This is what Donald Trump and his administration and Putin and Xi and Kim Jong, people like that try to, the first thing they do is they take away that freedom of speech. They take away that right to get the information right. So that's why I'm going to say to each and every one of you, we have over 2,000 right now, people that are watching. Those that are subscribed, thank you. Those that haven't, it's time to do your job. Right now, we need to make our voices louder than ever. Right now, we need to be stronger than ever because right now we're at a tipping point because we have the world is on fire. We have Iran that is, looking to, strike at any time. We have Israel that Trump is involved in their own politicals that are, at war with not only Iran, but, with the Middle East. You have Russia that is planning. They have got over 50,000 troops right now on the border of Ukraine that are ready to do a major invasion. And today, we probably got some of the biggest news that is nobody's talking about is that Trump basically opened up the big piggy bank to Russia. He took off the sanction he carved out, what the proper term is, but basically allowed the war banks, as I call them in my Substack, to be able to now function and allow this campaign. He's also allowed China, Free Willy, to go buy oil from Iran. He's also basically released Venezuela to sell oil or to Russia and to China and all. The things that we don't even talk about. And that's what I tell you, folks. That's the important part. It's what the media is not. Because, I don't know how long you could listen to the same commentators for 24 hours talk about what each senator and congressman is going to talk about this big, beautiful bill. Got it. We know it's on there. But let's talk about what's really important, what's happening. Donald Trump literally put on Truth Social yesterday that, big announcement coming today with Russia. Nobody even covered it. And today he comes out with, taking sanctions off during the middle of, and again, why? Why now? Why right after the biggest attack, just like I said to you, why did he attack Iran? Why then? He gave him 2 weeks. Why was it done? It's all calculated. It's all manipulated. It's all, and again, nobody's talking about it, but I broke it on my Substack that there was a Russian delegation here in Washington, D.C., right when Trump came back, from the NATO discussing it. Nobody's even talking about it. And now all of a sudden, right after that, you have these niceties towards back and forth to Putin. And all of a sudden, the sanctions listed now. So right now, more than ever, we need to join forces. We need the message to be united. So do your job, not only subscribing, but when you're out there, when you're on different, lives, listening, when you're in other chat rooms talking, do your job, spread our message. Take this and restack Dean's this conversation that we're having today. Put it in the message box. When they're talking about something, jump in there and say, "Hey, why aren't you guys talking about this Russian? That Trump just lifted sanctions. I was just on the Dean Blundell show, and Lev just broke this on his. Do that. Spread the word. Don't let them just do an echo chamber or hyperbolic, because the most important thing right now, we're trying to save our democracy. We're trying to save the world. We're all. It doesn't matter where you live. Canada, Russia, Ukraine, Middle East, America. We're all under threat right now, and it's all part of that axis of impunity controlled by Vladimir Putin. That's played out by Donald Trump. That with Bibi Netanyahu in the background. So I'll leave you off on that.
Oh, dude, that was a big one to leave me off on. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. When you say it out loud and you put all the pieces together, it sounds way fucking worse, too. Thanks, Lev. I really appreciate that. Listen, great work. Number 2 in world politics for a reason. He breaks stories that nobody else breaks. He talks to people nobody else talks about. If you want a behind-the-curtain Substack that is fighting for democracy, for you, for America, please go and subscribe to Lev's Substack right now, paid or free, doesn't matter. Let's all get in the same community. Let's all start sharing each other's information. Let's start fact checking. Let's start holding truth to account when it comes to what the media isn't covering and what they cover poorly. As always, Lev, so great to see you again, my friend. Thanks so much for doing this.
Hey, Dean, thank you for having me. And I'll tell you honestly, maybe we should think about doing something like that on a weekly basis between Canada and the United States. I think we have a pretty good audience to be able to get the message out, because
Mondays? You want to do Mondays? Mondays at 1 o'clock?
Yeah, let's talk. I think it
right.
sounds great. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, and then we'll just roll some guests through. We'll do a little Q&A.
We'll get guests coming in, and it'll be fun. Let's do it. Definitely.
Let's do it. Done. We just decided. Dean and Lev on Mondays. Talk to you soon. You go and enjoy your family. I'll talk to you soon, pal. Talk to you Monday.
Better. Take care, guys.
Okay, bye-bye. There you go. Lev Parnas, ladies and gentlemen, with the real, as the kids say. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for that. Really appreciate it. Being in Canada and getting a chance to reach across the border and communicate, talk to other people about the democracy that we're trying to protect, it's a North American thing. We live in a borderless society. The things on this side of the border are very different than they are in America, and we've got a front row seat to what's going on with our beautiful partner, former partner. And, for everybody that lives in the United States, I know the vote-a-rama is going on for the big, beautiful bill right now, and it is going to pass. In some capacities, a bunch of amendments. This is the police state bill. If you watched Steve Schmidt, Ryan Lizzie yesterday, they did an incredible job. Today, they did an incredible job of actually laying it out. Is that this government is going to earmark billions, tens of billions of dollars to have ICE Gestapo run around and remove your civil, basic, fundamental human rights. That's what this bill is. This bill also dovetails into taking 17 million Americans, some in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, that are not employable anymore, taking all their Medicaid away. This is going to kill people. This is going to hurt people, whether it's ICE Gestapo or the cutting of your Medicaid. The point is cruelty. It's not a bug. It's a feature in what Donald Trump is and what he does and what he's trying to do to the United States of America. Not paying attention to the news that people like Lev and Michael are able to bring you, or Malcolm Nance. Highly suggest you go and subscribe to Michael Nance's Substack as well. Not paying attention to people like Jim Acosta. Not listening to the warning signs. That's why we're here. And the dereliction of main duty in mainstream media is disgusting to people like me. And so, if more of us on either side of the 49th can get together in the name of democracy, in the name of fundamental human rights, and start sharing some of these stories and start taking these stories seriously, it's the only way we're going to get out of this. So thank you to everybody on either side of the border for joining us today. You can go to my Substack today. Highly recommend you subscribe this week. It's a Canada Day flash sale, kids. Canada Day week, to be honest with you. 50% off a lifetime annual subscription, unlimited access. Our exclusive paid sub Q&As start this week. And we're going to start featuring more guests like we featured today here on this Substack as we continue to grow. And we have nobody but you to thank for that. Democracy-loving North Americans. As Canada helps stand up for America and real Americans help stand up for democracy, we can do this together. We're with you. Canada loves you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Don't forget, to subscribe any way you can, free or paid. We just love the fact that we get a chance to sit here and talk to you and commiserate and act like Sherpas and give you the real from people like Michael Cohen and Lev Parnas. You cannot take the polished news takes, if you call them even news anymore, because they're all doing scared content at this point in the United States of America. So trust other countries, America, when it comes to getting news about what's going on in yours. And you can start right here with this beautiful place. I like to call Canada. Everybody does, actually. And happy birthday, Canada. Go and take advantage of that 50% off annual subscription flash sale. You can go to my Substack, deanblundell.substack.com. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.